Hello and welcome to Legislative Report. I'm State Representative Mark Gillen of the 128th District in Berks County. The annual process of crafting the state budget began in Harrisburg with Governor Tom Corbett presenting his plan for the Commonwealth. He proposes a budget of more than $29 billion that contains no tax increases. His outline serves as the starting point as the legislature must now step in to do its part. Joining me today to review the spending plan is the chairman of the House Appropriations Committee, Representative Bill Adolph. Welcome to the program.
Nice to be here, Mark.
At a personal level, you're a professional in your own right. You're a CPA, you build a business, you know a little bit about budgeting and appropriations, and as I sat in on the appropriations hearings in recent days, you in fact referenced some of your pedigree and your expertise as you approach budgeting from a business perspective. But beyond that, could I learn a little bit more about Billy Adolph, the person, family, what motivates you, what hobbies do you have, and perhaps how did you get involved in politics? Well,
I'm married, been married for 42 years. My wife's a registered nurse. I have 3 boys, 3 grown boys. 2 are in the financial world, and 1 is a public school teacher and lacrosse coach at the local high school. So how I got involved in politics, you know, I've moved all about 3 miles my entire life. And I got involved in coaching youth sports. Mainly football. Coached football for 32 years, and you know, and really, I used to go to the township meetings like most youth athletic people. You know, can we get our fields cut? Can we do this? And I guess the powers to be said, you know, we want this big mouth on the other side of the table, instead of always complaining about the conditions of the football field and so forth and so on. And you know, I had a family business right there. And so it was kind of a natural movement. I was a township commissioner for, I guess it was about 6 years. And it was fun, you know, go there to the municipality and once a week and try to balance the township budget. You know, and balancing a business is good, and I know taxes, you know, that's my specialty, you know. But there's a big difference between dealing with businesses that, you know, a successful business is a gross of $1 million. You know, we talk about $1 million up here like it's a decimal point. I mean, it's crazy, you know. But I know the revenue side of the budget pretty well, and because I actually know the people paying the taxes. They were clients of mine, you know, so that really has helped me throughout my career up here in Harrisburg, because I know that these taxes mean something, and I know how difficult it is to meet payroll every week. And when you raise taxes up here, it does affect people, and it does affect families. So I've always taken that as a very serious issue. You live in the heart of the community. You said you moved 3 miles during the course of your adult life. And you know, we have 4 Bill Adolphs within a mile and a half. You know, and God bless my father. He's 88 years old, and my son Bill, and his son Bill, and so you know. It's a good feeling. My family's very close knit, and we do a lot of socializing. We have them over every Sunday night, you know. And my wife wouldn't have it any other way, Mark. So it's a good thing, you know. And you know, on the weekends, we like to go down the shore. You know, we like the shore, and I like to hit the little white ball. It doesn't seem possible that we're ever going to see the green grass out there, but that's what I like to do as far as a hobby. I had to retire from the coaching ranks several years ago when I assumed this position as chairman of the Appropriations Committee, because it just is very time-consuming.
I know we're all busy, but I will say that Appropriations is probably the busiest committee. I've sat in on a number of hearings, and you are omnipresent. up there and all that goes on. And so I'm suspecting you probably put in as many, if not more, hours.
We are very fortunate to have a very professional staff up here. You know, these people up here, it's their full-time. It's their full-time business, analyzing each line item on the budget, and it's a difficult business because whether it's medical assistance or whether it's revenue side of it, whether it's education, there's a lot of regulations, a lot of mandates come down from Washington that we have to fulfill. So we're very fortunate to have a staff that makes us look good out there.
Yeah, my district office, by the way, is right off of a golf course. And people get a little bit suspicious, and I said, I've never been on the golf course, and you can feel very fortunate,
Yeah.
constituents, because the road is very close to the golf course. I'd certainly be hitting cars. But this budget year, how does it look as compared to other years? Revenue side, expenditures?
Well, you know, the governor is increasing spending by about 3.3% over last year, $900 million. And he has some one-time revenue sources, which other governors have used in the past. You know, when Governor Corbett took over and with the legislature, we put together a budget that had to deal with a $4 billion structural deficit. And that was difficult. It was difficult. We decreased spending $1 billion in the Department of Welfare our first year. And we lost $1 billion in education funding from the federal stimulus money. And, but we've put together balanced budgets. We did not increase the main source of taxes that individuals pay, and that is the PIT, 3.07%. And Pennsylvania sales tax, 6% on most merchandise, not necessities, but most merchandise, and that we've been able to control that. However, you know, as expenses grow, and it's mandated. It's mandated. I mean, you know, you always hear the school boards, you know, unfunded mandates. Well, we deal with the same thing up here at a bigger level from the federal government. And this year alone, our medical mandates for our medical assistants and our nursing homes, you know, almost like $600 million.
Which is under the umbrella of the Department of Public Welfare.
That's correct. That's correct. And you know, Mark, and first of all, I really like this opportunity to sit down and talk business with you. But the Department of Welfare is an all-encompassing department. I mean, a lot of it has to do with our hospitals and our nursing homes. And sometimes the Department of Welfare gets a bad rap. They think it's all handouts. A lot of it is not handouts. I'd like to see us separate it a little bit, you know, which is funny for a Republican, you know, trying to, most Republicans like to make things smaller, you know, and put things together. But this thing is so big. This thing is so big. I like to have better control and break it up into two smaller departments.
I couldn't agree with you more. Jumping off point, you mentioned education spending,
Yes.
and you referred to the stimulus. In
Yes.
the 3 years that I've been here, I think there's probably more of a misunderstanding, maybe miscommunication on the education budget and what the state has spent on education and what the
Yes.
federal component there was for a couple of years. Could you amplify on that?
Yes. The governor's proposal, and it's just a proposal. Very few budgets. Matter of fact, I think only one has ever been sent to the governor's desk, and that was Governor Rendell's first year budget, and he vetoed his own budget his first year. Okay, but the governor proposed $10.3 billion in education. $10.3 billion, K to 12. Okay, now that's all state money. That's all state money. Not one single cent is of federal money. The last year of Governor Rendell's budget, he spent $1.2 billion of federal money in that. We have now surpassed that total amount, okay, with only state dollars, no federal money. Now you hear everybody say, oh, we cut education $1 billion. We lost $1 billion from federal stimulus.
One-time money.
One-time money. We wrote letters to superintendents of schools. You know, this is for one-time programs. Don't start new programs. The money's not coming next year. You know, it was a stimulus trying to get out of the 2008, 2009 Great Recession, okay? All right, some school districts handled the money properly. Others formed new programs. All of a sudden, no money the following year. But I think the biggest thing, Mark, what is going down right now is that because of the pension, and we'll get into that a little later, contributions are increasing at a much faster rate than all the other expenses. All of a sudden, they want you to back out pension contributions from the education budget. So when they say we cut education $1 billion, what they're doing, they're eliminating their pension contributions in the calculation. And that is very unfair, because I can tell you, as someone who's prepared an awful lot of profit and loss statements, when you put together labor cost, you always include employee benefits, and rightfully so. You know, whether it's transportation, welfare, agriculture, legislature, when you put down cost of labor, you include employee benefits. There's nothing closer to the classroom than the teacher and the teacher's benefits. So, but for some reason, the loyal opposition has subtracted out pension contributions as an education expense, and that's not correct.
We'll talk about pensions in just a moment, but
Right.
Composition of the Appropriations Committee. You're a certified public accountant. I know others on the committee. Could you give us a little bit about the pedigree of some of those members of the Appropriations Committee?
Well, it's a big committee, as you mentioned previously. We have 21 members of the Republican Party, the majority party, and 14 members of the minority party, the Democratic Party. So you have like a third of that legislature, you know, on it, when I became chairman, what I tried to do, more importantly, was to try to have representation from every area of the Commonwealth, okay? And if you come from a more populated area, maybe 2 from that area, okay? But whether it's southeast Pennsylvania, northeast Pennsylvania, the T, okay, southwest, northwest, we have representation. So when we're putting together a budget, we're taking into consideration everyone's concerns. So this way, when we present our budget, okay, I have a feeling what Mark Gillen's going to have to say from Berks County, what's someone from the Northwest is going to have. We have Kurt Sonny from Erie County, okay? We have Karen Boback from the great Northeast up there. So we have a good idea whether legislators from different sections of the Commonwealth can accept what we're putting together. Professionally, I mean, we have a very, very talented committee. We have several CPAs. We have some former bankers, some former school teachers. We have former insurance men, pension experts. So we have a very talented committee, which I'm very, very happy to work with.
I'm not a member of the committee, but I'm very fortunate to attend the hearings, and I represent large families. I've got 5 daughters ranging in age from 9 months to 14 years, so I definitely have to work at balancing a budget.
Yes.
Let's take a quick break. Legislative report will return in a moment.
Did you know that the Pennsylvania Farm Show's history goes all the way back to 1851? Originally organized as a state fair by the Pennsylvania Agricultural Society, it was discontinued in 1899. It wasn't until 1916 that Charles Patton, the Pennsylvania Secretary of Agriculture, worked with others to develop a new agricultural fair which debuted in January 1917. It was in 1925 that the roots were laid for the farm show that we know today. The show had grown so large that 40,000 attendees were traveling to various sites all around Harrisburg. During this year, the Pennsylvania State Department of Agriculture took control of the event, and the legislature had decided to appropriate money that gave birth to the farm show complex. Finally, in 1931, the main exhibition building opened and welcomed 150,000 visitors to the show that year. Over the years, the farm show has continued to grow. Various events showcasing animals, products, and skills were added to the event. The farm show complex has also continued to grow, with more buildings and arenas being added over the years. The count stands at 24 acres inside 11 buildings and 3 arenas. Today, the show hosts approximately 6,000 animals, 10,000 competitive exhibits, and 300 commercial exhibits, along with over 500,000 visitors. Since the doors to the main exhibition building opened, the farm show has become the world's biggest indoor agricultural event. Now you know.
Did you know that on October 4th, 1911, the statues that greet visitors in front of the State Capitol building in Harrisburg were dedicated to the citizens of the Commonwealth? In 1902, George Gray Bernard was commissioned to design the figures that embellished the front of the Capitol building. During the installation period, Bernard explained to the General Assembly what each sculpture symbolized. The Southern group, titled The Burden of Life, depicts the story of Adam and Eve followed by the fall of man in the forms of despair. The Northern group, titled Love and Labor, depicts male and female figures reaping fruits of labor and advances to a new Adam and Eve who gaze westward into the future. Recently, both sculptures underwent restoration to prevent further deterioration from their natural beauty. Now you know.
Welcome back to the program. Today we're discussing the state budget with my guest, Representative Billy Adolph. Billy, pension.
Yes.
It's a small world, but it means a whole lot to people out there.
Oh, yeah.
Retirees, those that are prospectively going to rely on that as a source of income. And then we
Yes.
have to look at the taxpayers and say we have a significant unfunded portion of the current pension plan. Where are we going to go with this? What do you see prospectively, legislatively?
Okay, well, the problem wasn't created yesterday. The problem is probably a 25-year problem. Various administrations, school districts didn't make proper contributions. The state of Pennsylvania didn't make proper contributions. Some legislation passed over the years that didn't help the situation. Then 2008 happened, and the portfolio, we lost 32% of the portfolio, and you really never recover from that. As a result of that, and we have defined benefit plans, meaning that you work X amount of years for the state, you're going to receive $1,000, okay, at age 60, and that's just
Right.
But you're guaranteed that. So there's an unfunded liability because we haven't been putting enough money into it. So we're trying to boost the portfolio. The two pension systems made close to 12% last year, which is fantastic, and we just need to put some additional money into it. Now there's a lot of thought. How do you do it? Okay. We made some changes in 2010, which I think helped a lot. I think we're going to need to make some changes again for new hirees. I know we all have retirees from the state system, also retired teachers out there. Their pensions will not be touched, okay? And I would say pretty sure that there will be no changes for current employees, because not that there's not some good suggestions out there moving forward, but we have the judicial aspect of it, and they say you cannot change current pensions. Okay, so where do we have to work? We have to work with new hirees, and it's a $600 million increase for us this year in this year's pension. So it's, we hear from our school boards, we need some more money. We hear from the universities, we need some more money. Well, these pensions are assuming a great deal of the cash that normally was spent for other programs, but it's still an expense, and we have to deal with it. So you're going to probably see a combination of some reform measures that the legislature will be debating, and I'm sure, Mark, you're going to be right in the middle of it, and adding your 2 cents to it, and it's something that we have to get done. It's as part of being in government, and small businesses, large corporations have dealt with this problem, and we want to save the pension system.
I've certainly expressed my passion on property tax and pensions
Yes.
in the past, and I think there's a relationship clearly between the two. Most of my constituent community that I talk to with regard to pensions look at it from an equitable framework. In other words, hey, private business is moving away from a defined benefit plan to a 401k style plan. So what I'm hearing you say is we are working towards that as we move forward.
Yeah, I think that's what you're going to be seeing. There's a couple plans out there, but they all, 25 years from now, I think you're going to see most people with a defined contribution plan for most of their salary.
All right. Tax law changes, moving into another area, corporate net income tax, capital stock and franchise tax, historically really the second being a very burdensome tax in Pennsylvania, causes stagnant job growth. There's a lot of pressure for business people. We made progress in that area. Where are we going with it?
We have been phasing out the capital stock and franchise tax, which is kind of a net worth tax. You list your assets, you list your liabilities, and you pay a tax. Whether the company made any money or not, you still pay a tax, capital stock and franchise tax. We've been phasing that out. Now, statewide, since the phase out has taken place, we have saved the Pennsylvania corporations about $1 billion on that phase out. Now, and I think you're going to see businesses look towards Pennsylvania as a result of it to come here, relocate, and put Pennsylvanians to work. Corporate net income tax, 9.9%, Mark, is one of the highest in the nation. You have to be a C corporation to pay corporate net income tax, all right? And our large employers are C corporations, so it's one of the highest in the nation. We'd like to see us be more competitive with the other surrounding states, and I think we're moving in that direction. We have a wonderful labor force here, a well-educated labor force, so we need to put the two together, but you have to do it responsibly.
Someone would say, okay, tax breaks and cuts for businesses. What does it mean for the working man and woman? Have we increased the number of people working in Pennsylvania over the last 3 years that I've been in office?
Right now, our unemployment rate is the lowest it's been in a decade, 6.9%. Okay? Now, hey, I always say, and I said that yesterday, when we're in a recession, everybody's feeling it. When you're laid off, you're in a depression. Okay, you're in a depression. So, I look upon it. I want everybody to have a job. I mean, that's the American dream: to get to work, do what you want to do what you've been educated to do, and build a family. And I think that's what we got to do here. And we are bringing more private sector jobs to Pennsylvania. And we're going to continue to do that. That natural gas industry has been a big job creator in Pennsylvania, and will continue to do so as this industry becomes bigger.
100,000 new jobs in the course of the last few years. Many of them have come from the Marcellus Shale region, which I was fortunate enough to visit up there and see what was going on and get at a wellhead. Myself, everybody's concerned about safety and environmental impacts, and certainly we've all benefited from lower gas prices. I wish I still had gas. I'm heating my home this winter with fuel oil, which has proved to be fairly expensive.
Yes.
Bright spots moving forward. Revenue. We always look at revenue projections, what personal income tax is going to bring, what's the sales tax going to bring, and the governor has a rather robust projection of those revenue sources. What's your view?
Yes, he does. He's probably a little bit more optimistic than I am. We were right on with our projections. Where I think we're only like $41 million off for the first 7 months of this fiscal year, which is right on. Okay, the sales tax is off just a little bit, but we're competing out there with these online purchases. Now, I know none of your constituents ever bought anything online.
Not that I can recall.
Not that you can recall, and did not pay the sales or use tax on it. But we're missing some money as a result of that. We can't do anything about it. It's a federal regulation, and I think someday you're probably going to see eventually some type of uniformity there. But I think we're going to try to put together a budget based upon absolute realistic figures. What happens here, because of that natural gas industry, Pennsylvania did not feel the job loss like some of our surrounding states. So we don't get that big jump in income tax or sales tax because Pennsylvania was not hit as hard because of that natural gas industry. And but still, other areas really felt it, and that's where we have to improve on.
Very briefly, we've got another minute. On-time budgeting. I've been here just a couple years, been through 3 budget cycles, coming into my 4th now. I like getting it done on time. I like getting it balanced. What's the prospect of that happening this time around?
Well, we've put together 3 straight budgets on time, like you've always said, and no increase in taxes to individuals. I like our prospects. I think we realistically know what we're going to be able to achieve, and we have to control spending based upon what we're going to be able to pay for, and we'll put it together. I would hope for a bipartisan budget, but that has not been the case the last several years. And but it's really a hardship if you don't pass a budget on time. It's a hardship. Our school districts don't receive money. Our hospitals don't receive money. Our college and universities do not receive the money on time. Even rape crisis centers, they don't receive money. It's a major problem, and no one gets paid. So I think it's irresponsible for not putting a budget together on time, and I think we have plenty of time to do it, and we'll do it, especially with your help, Mark.
Billy, I'm pleased for the visit. It seems like you have a heart for the community that you serve. Someone loses a job, that's a friend, a neighbor, and a constituent.
Yeah.
And I live in the heart of the community, and I feel the same way about my constituents.
Yes.
That's all the time we have for today's program. I'm State Representative Mark Gillen. If you need assistance with any state matter, please feel free to contact me at my local office or through my website. The address and number will be shown in a moment. Thanks for watching, and please join me next time for Legislative Report.